Hi folks, thanks for joining me. It's John Bowman, and this month we're reviewing an app called Zapier. Before we get into Zapier, I always have to comment, it is almost fall. Can you believe it? Summer's gone. I have no idea where the time went. I think that means I was having fun, and I hope you have been having fun too. Make sure that you enjoy the fall weather because pretty soon winter is coming, right? If you happen to live in a place that doesn't get winter, I am extremely jealous of you. But if you live in a place like me, Pittsburgh, that gets the winter weather, I am not looking forward to it because I always hate driving in the snow. But I do have a four-wheel drive truck, so I'll be okay. Don't worry about me. So this week we said we're going to be reviewing Zapier. If some of you know what Zapier is, that's great. For those of you who don't, Zapier is a task automation app. That might mean nothing to you. So think of Zapier like an if-then statement. If you do a triggered task, then you can automate another task to be created or done. So for example, if you get an email, you can create a row in a spreadsheet. It's like that, but think of that like on steroids. Zapier has thousands of integrations. It works with tons and tons of apps. It can really save you a ton of time, and you're really only limited by your own imagination. So we're not going to review the entire thing. We're just going to review small parts, and I'll give you some examples for how I use Zapier every single day. Before we dive into the app, I have a little joke for you. What does a clock do when it's hungry? It goes back for seconds. Now, just a quick word about these jokes. I actually use these jokes every week whenever I'm talking with customers. Sometimes, inevitably you'll get on a phone call and there'll be dead air, or they have to get people in the room, or whatever it is. I always like to use these little jokes as icebreakers, things that get people in the right mood to talk to me, because you want to make sure you give them that little dopamine rush every time they're talking to you too. So thank you for joining me again this week for Zapier, and let's dive into the app. So here we are. We're inside of Zapier. And Zapier is, like I said, a task automation software. Now, I might be saying the name wrong, okay? I say Zapier. Some people might say Zapier. I'm not certain. There might be a French pronunciation there. But we're just going to roll with Zapier. So here inside of Zapier, obviously, you can explore. You can look at your own Zaps. You can look at your history that you've done. You can see all of your connected accounts. Now, I've already gone ahead and I've connected some of my accounts. For example, my Gmail account and my Google Sheets account, all right? But if we wanted to, we could disconnect these just to walk you through them. So I'm just going to walk you through them. There we go. We're going to go back here to the Zaps, or in fact, in the top right, the easiest thing to do is to just make a Zap. We're going to walk you through making one real quick. You click that Make a Zap button, and you'll be directed here to choose a trigger. But first, remember, name things. Naming things is important. You want to keep things organized. So in this instance, we're going to call this one Search Email, Make Row. Oh no, I clicked the wrong button. There we go. Let's do that again. We're going to call this one Search Email, Make Row in Spreadsheet. There we go. So we're creating that trigger step. What is that trigger action? And we're going to choose our app. I'm going to choose Gmail just because it's an email, right? A lot of times you get information via email and you can automate a lot of tasks from the emails you get. So if we get a new email matching search, we're probably going to focus on this one, but let's just take a quick look. So if you label something, you can automate a process after that. If you get a new attachment, you can back that up. If you get a new start email, again, this is pretty cool, right? You do something, something else automatically happens. New thread, new email every time, etc. We can also see there's more options. So show less common, new label, if you want to create a new label. We're just going to use the search one, as I said. And we're going to search for new email matching search. We're going to hit the save and continue. After we click that save and continue, we're going to connect our account very easily. Because I'm using a Google account, I can just access it and allow like so. Once I do, I will test it. And once it tests and succeeds, I will save and continue. Wonderful. So what is the search string that we're going to look for? Inside of Gmail, when we come into Gmail, I have an email here that says new customer. And if I search, let's say new customer here, then you're going to see it pulls up that email. That's great. So this is the search string, new customer. We're going to take that and we're going to, went to the wrong one. We're going to go here and we're going to click the Control V to paste it in. and then we're going to continue. And once we continue, it's going to show us that it picked up a sample, right? So we're going to use the little drop down and see what that looks like. And this is what the sample looks like. This is the one email that's sitting inside my account. You got a new customer. His name is Dave. His email is dave@example.com. You can see the body. You can see all this information is contained inside an email. And all this information can be used to trigger actions. We're going to hit the continue option. Now that that's set up, that's wonderful. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to use some built-in tools inside of Zapier itself. I'm going to choose an action here. And that action that I choose is actually going to be what we call formatter. See the formatter here? What formatter is going to do is it's going to allow us to work with that email we just selected, right? New email matching search. We're going to come here and we're going to say, work with the text data to find, replace, capitalize, remove, and more. We're going to save and continue. Now that we save and continue, wonderful, we're going to transform. It's going to ask us, okay, what do we want to do? What action do we want to happen? Let's say in this instance, we want to maybe extract email addresses. So we're going to extract email. And then we're going to choose the input, text you would like to find and copy. We're going to use this down. We'll click that down. Sorry, we're using new matching, right? And it's contained, I believe, inside the body of the email. Right, so the body of the email, we can see Dave's email right there, dave@example.com. We're going to hit the continue option. After you click that continue option, wonderful, we can save tests or send test to formatter by Zapier. There we are. And once we send that to formatter, we're going to give it an option. Wonderful, a test text was sent to formatter just now. Great, so this is working. We're going to hit continue. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose another option. And I'm just going to use Google Sheets because Google Sheets, like I mentioned, is the backbone of Zapier. I love using Google Sheets. We're going to hit create a new spreadsheet row. So every time I get an email that is that matches the search string new customer, it's going to search that email for specific text, a specific email address. And then what I'm going to tell it to do is create a spreadsheet row. We're going to hit save and continue. And when we do, I'm going to connect an account. There we are. We're just going to give it the option to authorize, allow, and when we authorize and allow, we'll test, save and continue. Next, what you'll be able to see, it's going to take a quick look at my spreadsheets that are listed. There's my Zapier example spreadsheet I have set up. It's going to then look for my worksheet. Sheet 1's the only one we have in there. It's great. We can do multiple sheets if we need to. And then I have a column called new customer inside of this spreadsheet. See that? This is what it looks like. Zapier example, new customer, blank. What we can do with this is we can take the text and we're going to put it inside of the spreadsheet row by selecting it. Obviously from this drop down we can choose other things, right? We could say directly from the email, take the plain body, take everything you want from it. But we're not going to do that in this instance. We're going to hit the continue. And when we click the continue, we're going to send a test to Google Sheets. And what I expect to happen here is once the test passes, a row is sent to Google Sheets. That row is going to be the email address that was extracted from the email that was sent to me. If we go back here into Zapier example, you can see it's been sent. See how that worked, folks? This all works in the background, okay? Once we set this up, then we can turn it on. And anytime we're sent an email, it's just going to automatically show up inside of this spreadsheet, right? As long as that email matches the search new customer and the body of the email contains an email address, that email address is going to be put onto this spreadsheet that we set up. That's really, really cool. But that's not the only thing that Zapier can do, right? You can update spreadsheets, which is really great. Let's go back to our dashboard though. When we're back here on the home page, the dashboard where you'd go, you'd see all your Zaps located here. Obviously, you can go through your history. You can check your connected accounts. You can remove stuff, all that kind of thing. Very, very easy to do. Always check out the Explorer. There's tons of different options for you. You can look at your apps. You can look at your integrations, tips and advice. This is definitely where I want to go. But quick, just do a little bit of Googling, right? You can create your own Zaps. Look at how many different apps this has. Asana, Trello, Instagram, HubSpot, Salesforce, YouTube, Eventbrite, Toggle, GitHub, all these things. If something happens in Google Docs, Excel's even on here. Web Merge is one thing that we use. It's pretty cool. Tons of apps where if you do something, then you can make something else happen. So that's our overview of Zap. of how to make Zaps inside of Zapier and how you can actually use this in order to automate some of those tasks that you have to do. I don't know what tasks you have to automate. You're probably the best judge of that. But you should think about what are those things that you have to do that are kind of manual labor, again and again and again. And see if you can create a Zap around that. It's not that hard. Like we showed you, you can do it. If you need any help, again, just go up here to tips and advice, or they actually have a very nice little help section in the bottom right of the application. We can just go back to it. And what you'll be able to see is you can get help. Remember, Zap is free as long as you're not doing anything too complex. If you do want to do something a little bit more complex, it will be charged about $20 per month, especially if you want to bring in teams. So these are the apps that we currently use. Obviously, if you come to this screen, it's going to have all the apps that you use, as well as just basics, problems with Zaps, app-specific docs, etc., etc. So take a look. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it saves you hours worth of time. And thank you again for taking the time to watch Apps for Success here at Success Hacker. I really appreciate it. I think you're wonderful, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of summer. Bye-bye now.